Hello, everyone, and welcome back to GaM Sessions. We missed it last week, but we are here. We haven't abandoned you. That just brought up a lot of things inside me, and I was like, oh, okay. But we are here. If you are coming over for the very first time, that's Gisella, my bestie from all the way around the world. Well, it's morning right now, and it's I, Madhurima, the wise sage with nothing but a bottle of water today. So, yeah, we are just gonna have a nice, beautiful conversation around whatever's happening in our lives, take deeper dives into it, and see where it goes. Yeah.
All right. Do you want to go first?
I don't know. There have been way too many things happening in my life. But before that, we did have a request from a fan that wanted us to kind of talk about how we met and how did this come into being. So do you want to have a go at that before we jump into the deep stuff? Yeah.
Okay. So we actually met on a challenge, right, with Preston Smiles. He was hosting a challenge. I think he like called on you and you maybe shared your Instagram or something. Yeah. I know you shared like a message, and then also I was like, I get it, like same. Yeah. And so I found you, and I feel like we just kept talking since then.
For sure. So I feel like that when that had happened, you had tagged me in one of the stories, and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing anything. I'm just here. And you're like, no, but you are influential, like you're doing you're talking some good stuff. So I was like, okay. I mean, first coach I have actually connected with. And to be honest, I did develop a small little crush on you at that point. I was like, oh my God, she looks so cute. TMI, but that's how our friendship actually started. And I think then we started to coach each other. We did our coaching programs on each other, and we wanted to learn as we grew, I think. And that's how our kind of friendship just bloomed. I mean, it's supposed to happen when you share the deep and dark stuff right off the bat.
True. There's no other way it can go.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's how we connected. And then we were having like one of our girls' nights out, plus another time that we had a conversation around our daily life. And there was a lot of things that were coming up for us. And then, like we do as coaches and as friends, we just, and like our own selves as well, we just dove deeper into a lot of stuff, and we were like, why not record this, because this is like some really dope content.
Yeah. I remember we were just talking about life, and we just went so deep about how we were feeling and why we were feeling it, and how we could move through like the things that were coming up for us. So it was a really beautiful like coaching and like just little container that we had where we were able to be ourselves and hold space for the other. And I feel like we've been doing that for a long time together specifically. So it's nice to be able to sit down and do this and allow other people to maybe learn, or either from our stories or learn our sequences that we talk to each other, so they too can like move through emotions or through specific lessons and stuff that we've learned as well.
For sure. And I feel like both of us evolve a lot during our conversation. So like just to witness that in and of itself is very powerful, even if you're not going through it yourself. And I feel like a big proof of that was when we recently did another one of Preston's program that he was doing a workshop, and he went off on it. And I was just like, hold on a second, let me grab my pen and my book, because this is amazing. Like the amount of stuff that came up for me personally, I was just like crying for almost all 3 of the nights, because I was like,
oh yeah,
not what I signed up for, but okay, I'm here for it. Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was beautiful though, for sure. I probably cried that whole week because I had already been feeling some feelings like a day or two before. And then I had my Kabbalah course, which is like, I'm studying kind of, almost the same thing, just spirituality, just how to be in control of your emotions and all that stuff. And that lesson, I was like, oh my God, okay. And then the next lesson I had was the press and smile. So I was just like, oh my God, I am getting torn to shreds right now. Like it was so good though. After I was like completely wide open. So it was amazing.
Yeah, it surely was. Like, I didn't expect to cry that much, and so much came up for me, like, honestly, because he was talking about Stretch 22 and his courses and everything. I was just like, just the day before those things started, I was just like, you know what, I wonder why I spend so much time on spirituality and self-healing and all of this stuff, right? Because obviously this is not something that brings out a lot of monetary gain, right? This was something that I was literally thinking about a lot. And this is a question that I used to ask myself a lot when I used to cringe away from spirituality, like, why bother with it, right? And I feel like it was a question that I was thinking a lot about, is why do I focus so much on spirituality and self growth and all of this stuff? Like, obviously, this doesn't have a lot of monetary gain. This does not have any, instead of monetary, I'd like to say any tangible gains, right? Like, we don't see that we are receiving this reward. It's rather something that we balance our inner self, we talk to our inner child, there is much more peace and all this stuff, but it's not tangible. And so oftentimes I feel like we get lost in the sauce, and we just like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I, especially when we are going through difficult times during the healing process and stuff, it's just like, why am I putting myself through this torture? Like, what am I going to get out of it, right? So I feel like I've been thinking a lot about that. Not that I'm in resistance to that growth, not that I'm in resistance to the healing, but I feel like the question that I have been asking myself for a pretty long time, from different perspectives, one outside of me being the spiritual person, and one at the other side of the journey where I'm walking the road still. It's a question that a lot of people ask, and I feel like a lot of people who are getting into spirituality also ask this, right? Like, why bother doing this? There are no tangible results of this. Like, sure, I'll be happy, but who's to say I won't be sad the very next moment, right? So yeah, I mean, that's something that has been on my mind for a while now, that I've been having a lot of conversation with myself. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you for sharing that. I feel like we've all been there, right? Especially if you're watching this, then you understand how sometimes it feels like it's all for naught. And you do the work and you still see people that don't, and that can affect you. You do the work and you still get reactive, and that can affect you. So I think the best suggestion or advice or lesson that I've learned is learning to differentiate the voices that you hear and what you feel. So I like to think of it as like the Holy Trinity: Mother, Father, Son, masculine, feminine, androgynous, Trinity, right? So we have these multiple voices inside of us, and one of them happens to be, we can call it the opponent. That's what they call it in Kabbalah, is the opponent. The opponent is the voice that challenges you into finding your light. The best part of the opponent, is that you can't tell that it is not you. So the opponent is the one saying, no, this isn't worth it. You're not making any money. You're not doing enough anyway. You're never going to get there. You can't get enlightened. You can't heal yourself. You have to keep doing it. You have to do more. You're not doing enough then. You have to be healed, right? And it just keeps going. That is the opponent. And when you start saying, the trickiest thing about it is that it tries to convince you that it is not just a voice and that it is you, right? Yeah, that's the best. Like, it's so deceiving in that way, where it's very deceiving, and it's really good at it. It's a very, very worthy foe, right? Yeah. And so when you start saying things and it's in lack. So like, I don't have any tangible results. I don't know what to do about this. I'm so unclear about what's going on. The best thing that I do is recognize like, oh, that's the voice. Don't beat yourself up for it and be like, oh, I can't believe I was giving into it. I'm so done. No.
Yeah.
Don't. Just stop it right there. Notice, be like, oh, that's the voice. And then what I personally do is I will do the exact opposite or say the exact opposite. So if I'm saying, I'm so unclear, I don't know where to go from here, I don't have any money, I don't know what to do with my life, then I will say then, what do you know? What do you know? What do you have? What do you have enough money for? Do you have money? What do you have? What do you know? And when you move from that space, you're like, okay, well, I know what I don't know. I don't know how to do this. I know how to do this. And when you keep writing like, oh, well, I know how to do this. I know I want to know more about this. And when you're able to move through that, I feel like that helps me kind of just reveal what I do know inside. And I feel like a lot more comes up than you think.
Yeah.
And I think also I want to say that like while they're not externally tangible results, I feel like the more you feel it within yourself and you hold on to that part of yourself that is the opposite of the opponent, which is your soul, right? It's your light. It is this, whatever, it can be anything that brings it to you. But once you feel it, try and hold it for as long as you can. Try to amplify it, try to spread it, because I feel like if it is awareness, then all you need to do is try and feel even like the tips of your fingers and the tips of your hair. Could you feel the tips of your hair? Wouldn't it be fun to find out?
Yeah.
And you just try and spread yourself bigger. And that way, when the opponent comes in and tries to talk, the volume on your soul is just a little louder.
I love that a lot. And I feel like I also got the answer to why this question has been coming up a lot for me. Is just that you said this very early on, that how people react to us, right? Like, it's not me, or it's not my internal system that's questioning it. I know that my internal system's good. It's just that when I see people react in a negative way to me, I'm just like, I'm doing all this and I know I'm good inside, but it still hasn't changed my environment, right? And I'm not one to go around fixing people. Like, it just doesn't work for me unless people come up to me and ask for my help, or I go up there. I let them know that, hey, I'm available, whenever you want to talk, whenever you want to have a chat, I'm here. But I know that I can't physically force them to be like, let me help you, because it won't matter to them, right? Like, if they're not seeking for the answer, you put the entire universe's truth right in front of them, they'll still look past it. And so it's just that how other people react to similar situations, or how they react to you, puts you off. And you're like, oh, why am I doing this? Like, what's the point of me doing this, right?
Yes. Yeah. Let me grab my journal.
You do that. And
okay.
Yeah, while you find out the page that you're looking for, I feel like that's something that I'm also working on right now, because I genuinely want to help people with that. In burnout, it's basically how we react to different things. It's not stress that is causing the burnout, it's how we react to stress, right? And so how we react to things, and what are the things that we are putting inside a container that could possibly shake it up. I like to think of it as, being a captain of the ship, and you fighting off pirates and sea monsters and all these crazy things that's trying to climb in and wreck your ship and eat the people inside or loot your treasure and stuff like that. So what are you going to do to manage your ship better so that these things don't come inside? How are you going to protect the container that you have created with so much love and devotion? I feel like that's something that I've been working on a lot, because I know that not only is it going to help with my internal journey, it's also going to help a lot of people that I help. Yeah.
Yes. First of all, it's so gay that you bring up pirates. I'm queer. I'm just kidding. I love you.
You went on the what was it? Comic-Con kind of a thing. No, what was it? You had gone.
Oh, the Renaissance Fair?
Right. The Renaissance Fair.
And it was Pirate Day.
Yeah. And then I looked up Keira Knightley. Oh God. I always mispronounce her name. But she looks so good in the Pirates of the Caribbean. And yeah, that thought has never left my head since then.
Good. It never should. She doesn't need to. Lives rent free.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I believe that everything is a reaction, right? And I'm going to read you this, and this is something that I posted on my TikTok. And if you need to follow me on TikTok, it's at Shine with G. But I'm just going to read it, or at least parts of it, and then just kind of explain. So, relationships are a beautiful game of creator. Think about it. You open yourself up to someone and say, I'm going to let you make me feel something. I trust that it will be pleasant. And if it isn't, I trust myself to tell you, and I will do my best to do the same for you. Okay. So this is a synergistic game. Relationships are a synergistic game of creator and creation. And you each play both parts. But when you think about it, everything is a relationship. You have a relationship to everything. And I will prove it. Flowers, cows, dogs, cars, bus, mall, tree. Every single one of those, you have a picture in your head that is, a picture in your head pops up, and I can guarantee it's a different one than what popped up into my head. And you feel a specific way towards it. Maybe you love flowers and you were thinking of pink, beautiful flowers, or maybe you like daisies, or maybe you don't like flowers because they're sticky sometimes and you prefer leaves, right? So everyone has a relationship with everything. So if everything then is a game of what I just said, so I'm going to let you make me feel something, that means I'm going to surrender. I surrender. Yes, right? I surrender.
Yeah.
I trust that it will be pleasant. That's trust in love, trust in light, trust in the universe, right? And if it isn't, I have to trust myself to tell you. That's self-love. That's self-knowing. That's self-trust. Yes. And when you say, I will do my best to do the same for you, that is like a whole bunch of things. That is, you are the one acting and out of compassion and understanding and acceptance and love to be a creator, right? In their realm, in their world. And when you say, oh yeah. So, and you also have to be receptive, because you said, and I will do my best to do the same for you, which means when you say, like my notes are everywhere.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, receptively, you have to be receptive so you can create together.
Yeah.
So so I was gonna just, let me wrap it up here. So you are the creator because you are actively participating in your relationship with the universe, right? And you are the creation because the relationship will shape you. But again, you are the creator because you allow it to shape you. You decide how it shapes you.
Yeah, I love that a lot. And hold on, let me get my journal because I have something.
A few moments later.
Ludima doesn't always get her journals. Let me say.
Okay, so this just reminded me of something that I don't know how well you can see this, but I was telling you about the dream house that I have had this huge vision for. Okay, I just ran to the next room.
Hey, take a few breaths.
Yeah. Okay. So I have been telling you about, for all of you guys, I've been having this really clear vision that grows clearer every single day. And it's about my dream house, right? And so the other day I was just like, you know what, I'm going to meditate and I'm going to draw whatever comes up for me about my dream house. Yeah. So this was basically the house. Let me see if I can switch on the lights.
That's so good though. I'm so excited.
Wait, can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
It's not.
You went ham. I love this.
Yeah. So this is the house that I want to have for my mom and my brother. That's the house that I want to create for them. This is like a small tiny table outside where we'll have sit down for gatherings and just cook food and sit in nature and enjoy life. And this is like a tiny house I want to create for myself. I don't know how clear that is, but yeah, this is a tiny house I want to create for myself. And so I went out with creating the attic part of it and just thinking up of how it will look, right?
Right.
I had all these beautiful things like there's a rug, pillows, bed, a love yourself, glowy sign, fairy light thingy, and there are fairy lights on the roof, basically silver fairy light, so that it looks like stars at night with a dark navy blue color of the walls. Yeah, and there's books, and this is basically my creative space. And I went all out in terms of how I want that to look, right? And then I created this the base, the floor plan of the first floor or the ground floor, whatever. Something.
Yeah.
Get it, you guys.
Yes, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm here. I'm ready. Keep going.
So I created it, but I could create the exterior aspect of it. Oh, it will have a Japanese garden, shrine, lotus lake, and all of that stuff. But the interior, no matter how much I tried, I couldn't get it right. Yeah, I mean, it didn't feel like there was my entire energy in there. And so I was like, why do I feel this way? Why am I not having a clear aspect of how my interior looks of the main floor of the place that I'll be living in, cooking in, and hopefully having a wife in and living my life together. And then just this thought randomly came up that there's going to be a lower basement kind of a thing where she will be doing whatever she wants to do, right? Like how I create the attic, she creates the basement of it. But the floor, the main floor, it will be both of our energies. It will be both of our creation. And hence I don't have a clear idea of how it will look because it's not just mine to create, it's ours to create, right? And I was just like,
Gets nervous. Blushes.
And I'm like, okay, I see where you're going with this. I don't like it that much, but I like it also. Like, I don't know what's happening. But when you were talking about that, right? Like it's I surrender, and you spoke about yourself and you spoke about how you trust them to speak up about their thing. It just felt like you have your energy, they have their energy, but when you're in a relationship, you both can exist singularly and that's all right. But when you come together in the mix, that's going to be a beautiful thing on a whole another level, because you won't have a complete idea as to how you're going to envision that relationship. Like you won't have a clear idea as to how it's going to turn out, unfold, because it's both of your energies, and energies grow, energies evolve, so you have no idea how it's going to happen. And so surrendering at that point of time is the best thing you can do to kind of let that happen. And I was just like,
yeah, when I said surrender, you were like, oh,
yeah.
oh.
Yeah. I did, because oh god, I have such from the very first part of my spiritual journey, I knew that the answer is to surrender, because I'm a very controlling person. I'm like, everything needs to happen like this. Everything needs to happen in this particular way only. If this happens, then I'll do this. So I have, like, as an overthinker, obviously, I have solutions, problems, and solutions to those problems. And then it just keeps going on and on. And so I knew in the very beginning that the only way that I can exist in a peaceful way while experiencing the freedom that life creates for me is to surrender. And so it has been like this tug of war where sometimes I just surrender. I'm just like, do it, do whatever you want to do with me. I genuinely don't care. Surprise me, whatever, do something, right? Like I genuinely don't care. And then there are days where I'm just like, everything needs to happen in this exact way. Like I'm playing a chess game against the universe, right? I'm like, I'm gonna put this, and then they're gonna put this, and then I'm gonna push this, and I have like counter moves and all of this stuff figured out in my head. And then universe goes and like, I'ma just throw the entire table and the chess game, right? I'ma just restart it, reset it. Right when you're about to win, I'm a reset it. And you have to learn to deal with it. And I'm like,
the universe is like, we're not even playing a game, we're just talking. And you're like, chess.
literally, it's like that's the two chaotic energies of the universe that lives within me. Is one where it challenges me at every aspect, right? Like literally throw the chess game board outside just when I'm about to win. And then the other part is like, why are you fighting? I don't want to fight with you. Why are you fighting? And I'm just like, I don't know. Why are you asking me why I'm fighting? You tell me why I'm fighting. So
I think, okay, first of all, so relevant. I feel like I literally wrote on my arm, I showered though, so it's not there anymore. But I promise, I wrote let it die on my arm because I'm like, just like, let it go, let it die. It's like gracefully, let it die gracefully. You can let something go and be like, and it's gone.
Yeah.
Done. I understand. I've moved on. My body may feel it, but I know, and I will keep reminding myself like, hey, it's okay. Hey, it's okay. It's done. It's over. It's okay. Right. And just that opening, I once had it explained so well. I love this analogy where, like those bobs for when you're fishing, and they like, imagine like it's floating on the water. When you resist, it's like pulling it down and you feel that tension. That's what resistance feels like. And when you let it go and it's just bobbing, that's what surrendering feels like. It's the, and then you just kind of float along. You understand, you're like, okay, I can enjoy a challenge when it's from myself. I don't need to challenge anything else. I can ask myself, like, can I do 10 push-ups today? I cannot. Will I try 7? Yeah, I can. Like, let's challenge. And if I can do 7, like, let's try for 10. Like, it's that I've accomplished something. You want to feel that, like, I've accomplished something. I've done something. I did it. Right. Yeah. That's not a bad thing. It's not bad to want to feel proud of yourself. Right. Yeah. It's not, a tree isn't ashamed of its flowers. It allows them to grow. Yeah. And it allows them to die. And it's that, let it die. Like, it's when it's good, let it be amazing. Yeah. Let it fill you. And when it's ready to go, you let it go. Yeah. And I feel like it's so much simpler than we make it seem, but it's because it's really difficult and we allow it to be complex for us in order to not let it go. And that's ego. Ego loves, well, I've survived this far, and if I don't have it, I don't know if I will survive. So let's just like hold on to it a little longer. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So it really is just recognizing like, oh, that's ego. I just need to let it go. Yeah. I can let it go. I can surrender. I can love. I can do it gracefully. Yeah. I love that. And I'm gonna just add something on to that, right? The thing about surrendering is, when you do truly surrender, it feels like this weightlessness, right? Like you're falling from the sky and you're not afraid of the ground, of you hitting the ground, because there's a parachute, there's something supporting you. So you're not afraid that I'm a splat and I'm a die, right? But the thing is, and this is something from a personal experience, which goes to show that I need to work on it. But the thing about surrendering is, I have been in struggle for so long that surrendering feels too easy. I'm gonna say that again. I have been in struggle for so long that surrendering feels easy and it feels unknown. And so my very first reaction is to create struggle in that situation, because this doesn't feel normal. And it's that thought process that if I could have felt this all along, why have I been struggling? So this is unnatural. I should stop doing this. I should continue struggling. I should continue aiming to struggle all my life. And this is something that really hit me when Preston was speaking about Hamlet is always going to be Hamlet, right? Yes. And the concept is, you have this, as long as you hold on to a story, it's never going to change. And while I consciously manifest a life without struggle, I manifest a life that is
smooth flowing, where I have surrendered completely, where everything is perfect, there's sunshine and rainbows and all these amazing things, subconsciously I'm craving that struggle, because that's what has made me who I am right now, right? Like I have struggled for so long, I've struggled my entire life, and I have failed even when I've struggled. That's the thing, right? Like I failed when I struggled, and what that told me was that I didn't struggle enough, that I need to have struggled harder to have got the thing that I wanted so badly. Because if I can manifest anything, and if I did put in the work for it, I should have gotten it. If I didn't get it, that means that I didn't struggle hard enough, I didn't work hard enough. And so subconsciously I'm always like, I can't win if I don't struggle, I can't have it easy. That doesn't make sense. It has never made sense to who I have been for so long. How will it make sense now? And so it's letting, that's why surrender hit me that hard, right? Like I need to let go of it, and I get it here. Again, we get it here, but our body doesn't, because our body is like, we have been struggling so hard for so long. You can't imagine us to be happy about surrendering. That doesn't make any sense. If this was a solution all along, why have you been struggling? Right? It's the proof of it all. It's the programming that we have put in our mind, that we have to struggle every single time to achieve whatever we want to achieve. At least it has been for me. So yeah. Oof.
That was a lot. Are you okay?
Yeah. It has been going on in my mind for a while, which is why I cried a lot about it as well, to be honest. I was just like, this doesn't make sense, and yet it makes sense.
Yeah.
Hence the question of why am I doing all this? What's the point of it all? Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. I feel like that was a very beautiful raw moment and just story to share.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, in the Bible, there's a story, like the town is being destroyed or whatever, and like the guy says, look at the tower and you will be saved. And a few people do it, and a few people try to run, and whoever runs, I think they turn into snakes. So they literally just like, they are no more themselves, right? And the people that stared at the tower, they were saved. So it's simple. The task is simple. The action is simple. It's when you start saying words like, I should have done that. I didn't blank enough. I didn't X enough, right? That's when you're like, opponent, not me, opponent, right? Yeah. And especially, I feel like it's especially hard for people that have been studying this kind of like philosophy and esoteric wisdoms, because I like to say the woman in the red dress always becomes more attractive. And that's a Matrix like reference. But basically, the more you start to understand the ways you sabotage yourself, it's very beautiful, because you understand like, oh, I know what I'm doing wrong, or I know what I'm holding on to that's not allowing me to move forward. I'm going to let this go. What happens is ego says, no, you're not. And creates this woman to be more pretty, to be more lustful, and try and drag you back. It creates this siren to literally take you back. And it starts saying, instead of saying things like, I am not enough, it says, I don't know enough. I'm not doing enough. Instead of saying, I'm not worthy, it says, I'm not enough. It says, oh, I had a specific one, but I totally lost it. I feel like it just, there's things, or the shouldn'ts and shoulds, like, oh, well, I should just do better. I need to make sure, like, I shouldn't judge people. Because that's what makes me better. I'm better because I don't judge people. Like, and that's like, the words start becoming more tantalizing. and they become more in our language because the opponent likes to make sure that it thinks that we think it is us, right? But it's not. So it's also going to be up leveling its vocabulary as you change your vocabulary. And it's, I feel like literally giving it that its separate identity and realizing like, this is within me, but there's two, and that's okay. I have this side of me that wants to keep me safe in the way that it knows, and it'll say things to make sure that I'm being kept small, safe, loved, and I belong into the community, because anything else means death, because we're humans and we've lived on this earth for a long time. And if we didn't have a community, if we didn't have a sense of love or belonging or safety, we would literally die. We would die. So you can't live on your own when you're all on your own and everyone else is against you, quite literally, like animal world and etc. So when you understand like, okay, I have this part of me, the opponent, it's doing a really good job, because what it's doing is, this is the challenge. The reaction is the challenge.
Yeah.
Not anything else. Everything else is how your relationship is with that.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why I read that. So your challenge is, the opponent says, well, you're not doing anything right. You should just stop. You should quit. And that is the challenge. Then you say, oh, this is the catalyst for growth.
Yeah.
I see you. Okay. So does that mean the opposite is true? Possibly. So if I keep going, if I believe, if I surrender, if I keep working in the way that makes me light up, then maybe I do win, because I'm choosing to be proactive rather than reactive.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll just give me one second. I'll switch off the light. It's very hot here. You're right now. Yeah. Dark Madhurima. We're not dark though.
Chocolate.
Yeah. Like weird chocolate, but okay. Anyways. But I loved what you were saying about that, because it reminded me of this thing that I kind of got this download, if you will, when a neighbor picked a fight with us, and I was just like, hold on a second, after I cooled down, I was like, this actually makes for really good content. And it's the ego trap, right? Like, I love to call this, because the ego is not this big bad villainous thing. It's just a defense mechanism. It's just trying to keep us safe. It just wants us to be like, let's stay here and let's stay comfortable, where what's going to happen. Again, control. What's going to happen, and so you don't have to worry about anything else. And so whenever a moment of growth comes in, a moment of change happens, our very first reaction, or the ego's very first reaction, is, okay, I'm on your side. I get what you're saying. I love that you're trying to do this, but here's why it might not work. So again, it's what you said, the opponent trying to behave like us, right? So in that moment, we are just like, it's just trying to talk to us. It's just trying to be in this diplomatic phase, where it's trying to make sure that we don't actually go and do the thing that will probably invite that change in. And so we are just like, okay, I'ma hear you, but I still want to change. And so that diplomacy kind of changes into this first reaction of anger. And so the very first thing that it starts to do after it tries to talk through us, after it tries to be like, if you don't change, I will give you this. If you don't change, I'll give you comfort. If you don't change, I'll give you knowing, and all of this amazing things. And we are tempted by it. But if we still are like, no, let's see, let's try to change, right? Then it starts to get angry, right? And in its anger, it starts to pick up all these surface level triggers that we have. That's like, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? That's when the what if start to happen. That's when our fears start to come in. And we are like, those fears kind of put a stop to us. And we are like, let's reconsider trying to go into this change aspect of it. But if you're still like, you know what, I still want to change, I don't care, let's overcome this, right? That's when it gets pissed off. That's when our ego is like, it gets angry, it starts shouting in the street, and it's like blah 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 blah, and it brings out all the deepest, darkest, dirtiest things that we could ever hold, and it puts it in front of us. Like, if you do this, you will die, right? If you do this, this thing will happen, then this thing will happen, and then you'll die. And you're just like, okay, well, you know what, let's go back to comfort, right? Let's just go back to comfort. But the thing is, at that point of time, if you're still like, I will do this no matter what, then you change. Then there's nothing stopping you, because you have confronted your fears, you have confronted the aspect of you possibly dying, but you've still gone ahead and done the thing that could bring out that change in you. So yeah, I mean, it just reminded me of that, because I feel like the ego, while being a defense mechanism, it's also very clever in the way that it operates, right? And so it's not like something that's like, oh, you want to change, okay, go out there and change that. It's like, no, what if something happens to, and it does out of love, overbearing love, unconditional, boundaryless love, that when something crosses a limit, it gets disgusting, you know. I know it sounds very weird, it sounds very wrong, especially when we talk about something as beautiful as love. But if something crosses a limit, it starts to get icky. We feel that clinginess of it all, kind of like enveloping.
It becomes,
yeah.
I was gonna say, it becomes the acknowledgement that love might leave. I feel like that's what it feels like to me, at least. Like, it comes from a good place. When you dig deeper, you understand the value that it can hold behind it. But when it's just there, it feels like it's reaching, right? It's like, where is it? I need it.
Yeah.
And when you choose ego, you will get an instant gratification.
Yeah.
It's always going to give you something. Regardless, you win. But if you had waited, if you had chosen the other path, if you had sat with it and realized, oh, I know what I want or need to do or desire to do right now, then you get infinite gratification rather than instant gratification.
Yeah, I love that. And I read this advice that someone gave to a connection of mine on LinkedIn, and it was choosing short-term uncomfortableness over a long-term period of knowing that you are in an uncomfortable position, right? Knowing the life that you have lived that is no longer serving you, and you have been in that life for a pretty long time. So are you going to choose that, or are you going to choose that short-term uncomfortableness that's going to kick you into a new phase of life, a new way of living? Yeah. It
and
makes,
go ahead.
no, I was just like, it makes you wonder. Yeah.
I was going to say, I want to give like an action step, basically.
Do it.
If you want to kickstart feeling uncomfortable, if you want to like get over something uncomfortable without creating a challenge like in your life or a drama in your life, I would say do something that brings you like the slightest bit of like unease and like you're a little scared. For me, like doing cartwheels, I don't know why, like it terrifies me for some reason. And like I did like my very first cartwheel in like over 10 years, probably like a few weeks ago. Wow. And I was like, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm outside, no one's around me, let's go. And like, my body was like, don't do it. I'm like, what will happen? It's like, you could break your foot. The grass is really uneven. Like, you're gonna die. And I was like, what a beautiful way to die. Okay, anything else? Like, you literally just like, okay, like, let me hear it. Tell me, tell me why I'm going to die doing a cartwheel. Like, it's fine. And I did it. And I was like, oh, that wasn't so bad. And then I like went back inside. Like, that's all I did. Or you could like jump off like at a pool, you know, like the tallest diving board, jump. Isn't that scary? That sounds scary, right?
I have never jumped from the base level because I'm like, I can't do it. Yeah, I can't do it.
It's scary. So things like that, where it's like, I have a lifeguard. I can be like, you better watch me while I'm up there. Tell him that. Ask. You have to trust yourself to ask for the support, encouragement, like container that you need. while you surrender to this love that wants to envelop you, right? So you jump. So you do the cartwheel.
Yeah.
Right.
I
So
love you instead of I love that. I was like, what am I saying? But I love you because that was genuinely so good. I was like, that scares the shit out of me. And still it makes sense. Right? I was just like,
but it's like, but I do it. Like, I'm terrified, but like, I'm also like a boss. So if someone was like, I dare you, I'd be like, hold my shirt. Like, I'm on my way. Hold my earrings.
Yeah. They're really good earrings, so you better hold on to them. But yeah. Yes. But yeah, I love that a lot. Just thinking about it is scaring me, but I love it a lot because I feel like that's what we do as coaches also, right? Like, we let them know that it's okay to surrender because we are looking after them. We are creating that container where we have all the lifeboats, all the life jackets, everything possible. We know that we can swim and save this person no matter in what kind of weird thing or sea monster is pulling them down, whatever, no matter what, we know that we are going to care for them. And that is what we present as coaches to our clients, that you can surrender. All you gotta do is ask first. You gotta ask. We are not mind readers. We can't always be like, do you need coaching? I am here. Take my coaching program. Take it. I'm gonna give it to you. Like, as much as we want to, we are not gonna do that. And it's not because we don't know how to sell our programs. It's because we need you to take that first step. Because if it is us taking that first step, it's always going to be, I did it because they wanted me to do, not I did it because I wanted to do. Right?
It's your own decision, and I can't help anybody that doesn't want to.
True that.
Right? I can't teach or guide or love or hold someone that didn't decide for themselves that they were ready to be held, to be guided, to be a student, to unfold. Right? Like, I can create a container, I can be the pool, but you need to be willing to make sure that pool is going to be filled. I am just the empty pool. The pool is filled with love. You got to be the one to jump, though.
Yeah, I love that. And the thing is, when you jump, when you decide to take that jump, know that, at least I can't speak for all the coaches out there, but I can speak for Gisella and myself, that know that when you do decide to take that step forward, when you do decide to take a dive, we are going to save you. I mean, not save you as in savior. We are not going to be the people who are going to fight your wars. We are going to be there to take care of you. And you are going to know that we exist, and you are going to have our unconditional support. Like, you can't hide. You can't be like, I don't want to do this, I'm not going to do it. Like, no, you ask for help. Now deal with it. I'm going to help you.
Yep. I feel like it's like, I had it explained once, like, when you're like in a shooting game, like with Star Wars, you like go, we as coaches, we are the ones in the front, we shoot all the guys, and then we say, come on.
Yeah.
And then they have to like still feel that panic and be like, okay, everything's fine, we're going, but everything's fine. And then like, okay, you take this next one, you got it. And then like help them in the backup, right? So it's constantly like, I see where you need support, you see where I need support, and we have this relationship where we create something beautiful because we both allow ourselves to surrender. We just happen to be the ones also guiding you into where you want to go. So you are also the creator.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and just a heads up, we are constantly learning, right? Like, if you think that we have the ultimate answers, we don't, because we get coached. We coach each other. We get coached by other people. We are constantly putting ourselves in the same shoes that you are. Like, it's like you said it the other day, right? Like, it's the same thing. It's at a different frequency. It's a different level. It's the same kind of a journey that we are all taking. So, yeah, I mean, we are doing the work. We are putting in the work. You know that you have to put in the work. So all you got to do is reach out and ask. If not us, anyone else. But you have to ask.
True. You do have us. If you don't want to work with us, or you do want to work with us, hop on a call. We can even point you to the right direction.
Yeah.
It is that easy. Exactly. It is that easy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Madhurima, I know you have a podcast to go do. So I
Yes.
love you a lot. Thank you, everyone, for joining us as well. This was a fun conversation.
Yes, this was wonderful.
Yes. Yes, it was. Well, until next time.
Yes.